Let's start off with D.C. We've been giving Chicago a little bit of a break, haven't we? Well, at least this week. I don't even think we touched on what's happening in Chicago this week. I wonder if we're going to go a whole week without actually addressing anything that happens in Chicago. Can Chicago stay quiet for a whole week? Or are there places like D.C. that's just louder than Chicago that forces my hand to address the crime that is happening or the migrants that is happening all across the board? Did y'all know that there's migrants headed up to Nashville and Tennessee? Did y'all know that there's migrants headed up to Nashville and Tennessee? Yeah, they going everywhere. We're going to address that today. Did y'all know that the migrants actually got arrested? They got arrested again. The ones that was beating up the NYPD police officer? Yeah, we're going to address that. Did y'all know that even with this eviction process against y'all, that there's lawyers and companies that are looking to capitalize off of the fact that you under duress also? Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to get into all of it. But before we do that, Jeremy H., you said, why are you coming after D.C.? I'm not coming after D.C. The criminals are. Listen, I am like the Dark Knight. I'm like Batman. When y'all see me report on it, it's like a person that tells a joke. You never get mad at the person that laughed. You're supposed to get mad at the person that told the joke, that cracked the joke on you. Right? I'm just a reporter. I'm just the lonely person that's bringing visibility to a bigger issue and to a bigger problem. Whenever I bring your city to the front of the congregation, wherever it is that you are, you should be thanking me. Because now I'm informing you and I'm arming you with information so that you can do things differently or so you can solve for the problem that's happening in your community or your city. I'm just the lonely person that's out here bringing visibility to it. So y'all not mad at the criminals. You mad at me reporting on the criminals so that they can get caught. Make it make sense for me, Freaky Jason. What up, Charles Pride? Make it make sense for me. You not mad at me bringing visibility to the criminals. You know what I'm saying? You should be mad at the person that's actually conducting the criminal activity. But D.C. is in turmoil. D.C. is in turmoil. Now, for anybody that has ever visited D.C., for anybody that has ever walked down the street in D.C., you know that D.C. is toe up. And I'm talking about right up the street from the White House. Right up the street from the White House. D.C. is toe up. I'm talking about crime. I'm talking about tent cities. I'm talking about people stealing. I'm talking about some of the worst people that is literally protesting outside of the White House. D.C. is in the danger zone. And I also had forgot that D.C. had a black woman mayor. Shout out to the black woman mayors. I did. I forgot. Eric Daniels, the White House ills in the ghetto. It ills in the ghetto. But if you walk past it, make sure you look up because they got them boys, them snipers that's sitting on the roof. That's for real, though. But I didn't even realize that all of these mayors and stuff, do y'all know how many women mayors and women governors we have? I know it's kind of, Muriel Bowser, Mayor Bowser. Did y'all know that we have an influx of women leadership that is leading this country? I didn't know until I really started breaking down and reporting on what's going on out in these streets. Take a look.
Stores closing, policies changing, and new security measures. All this is retail business, and the district tries coping with the exploding crime and repeated thefts. Our Bob Barnard live in Columbia Heights at a store we've talked a lot about recently. Hey, Bob.
Hey there, Marina. Yes, the city announced today that it's offering something like $20 million in grant monies to small and local businesses to try to keep them alive, keep them surviving and thriving at this tough time. You mentioned this is a CVS we've been telling you about here at 14th and Irving Streets in Columbia Heights that's closing at the end of the month. The company isn't saying officially why, but we know it's been the target of repeated thefts, some organized, some violent. Just down the street over in Adams Morgan, take a look at this. Overnight, 3 men broke into the Safeway and stole money out of that ATM machine. They damaged the ATM machine, got away with money, forced a number of employees to be on the ground, to stay on the ground. They ended up calling 911. The thieves made off with money. This is the same Safeway store on Columbia Road that just last week introduced new security measures, these plastic, sort of like fare gates at the Metro. This is at the self-checkout area to try to prevent customers from just walking out with things. We saw how that worked. You basically take the barcode that's on your receipt, and that's what clears you on a reader there to get out. Had a chance a short time ago to speak to Nina Albert. She is the city's deputy mayor for planning and economic development. I asked her about the crime wave and also about that grant program, the city offering millions of dollars to these businesses.
So 900 registrants came today to learn about these grant programs, which to me is an indicator that there is significant interest in remaining in Washington, both either to be a new business here or to expand in Washington. So the two things can coexist. I know that everybody's very interested and working together on resolving the theft and crime issues, but are businesses interested in doing business in Washington? They are.
Now, just across the street here in Columbia Heights, the mall that is there that has Target as one of its anchor stores has a sign up saying, look, if you're under 18, you do not get in without an adult. And that has been an issue, especially, afternoons with the Metro here. Back here at the CVS, you see the shelves are empty. There was a massive robbery here back in October. The pharmacy is open. What few items they have still in stock here are locked up. The prescriptions that are here will be sent to the CVS that is right next to the Safeway in Adams Morgan. But for older folks, guys who have mobility issues,
let's stop here for a second, because I'm practicing a new thing, right? And one of the things that I'm practicing now is I'm trying to practice letting the videos play, but I have so many different things and different thoughts that I'm literally going to just at some point pull out my iPad and write down all of the different things that I need to address for this whole situation. This is an open CVS. Let me rewind this really quickly. I want to show some of these shelves. They locked up the soap. Look at the shelves of the CVS in DC. They locking up soap. They are robbing CVS's. CVS only opens for the pharmacy now in DC. The other CVS that's down the street, that in the background you can see all of the hoodlums hanging out in the front of it, just like it was the corner store back when we was in the hood, is closing. They are creating a program where they're incentivizing businesses to stay open. They've decided that the best way to solve for this, listen, this is not anything that I'm making up. This is me summarizing all of it so I can really capture what is happening and gather my thoughts, okay? They are throwing $20 million into incentivizing, hopefully, for businesses to stay open. But it doesn't actually stop the crime or the problems that are happening inside of these. Listen, the soap is locked up. The toothpaste is locked up. The conditioner, the shampoo is locked up. That's just what they left on the shelves. They locked it up. You can't go in there and get soap without calling an associate over from the pharmacy to come and unlock it so that you can go and pay for it. And then they put up these plastic barriers that opens when you scan your receipt, but it's only waist high. So we're not actually throwing money towards solving for the problem, which is crime, corruption, single parent households. a lack of accountability, changing of the laws. We're not putting the money because the businesses don't need an incentive to stay open. The only incentive that they need to stay open is that they don't get robbed, that they don't get stolen blind, that everybody don't just go in and take whatever it is that they can leave, that they can have and leave, and then they don't have to worry about getting arrested for it because we've created laws that basically protect criminals. The businesses just want an environment where they can compete and they don't have to worry about getting robbed. So if you let capitalism take its place, then all you have to do is just let it thrive. Jobs, productivity. See, the people in the hood, we've known this for a long time. You know why? Because the only thing that we've had in the hood is overpriced groceries, overpriced stuff because nobody has a car. And so you walk down to the grocery store, you walk down over to the corner store, you then get charged double or triple because they just went into the grocery store, purchased it, and then put it in their convenience store in order for us to come in and buy it. Half of the time the stuff is old and it's expired, right? You can go in there and get candy and maybe you can pick up an apple that got gnats all over it, right? And then when you go into the store, they have all of these bars and plexiglass because they know that you're going to get crazy. And so all of the good stuff that people actually want is behind the plexiglass. I've seen whole stores where you can't even get in the store. You got to go up to the window from the outside and then tell them what you want in order for them to go and get it and then throw it into the little thing that they turn around and then they hand it to you. You just got to do all of that from outside. So now the rest of the world gets to experience what we've been experiencing in the hood for a long time, and we've already known that the problem is the crime. We know what the issue is, but yet we still complained when they then call it gentrification, when reality is they're just trying to clean up the neighborhood in order to raise the property values. But then you say, well, no, we don't want to do that because we don't want to displace anybody. Displace them from what? Displace them from what? So now you are in a food desert. Now you don't have prescription medicines and you can't get your prescriptions filled. Now you have to worry about walking down the street and crime is perpetuating itself all around you and you just got to hope that somebody don't knock you over the head in a city that's basically got the White House right up the street. Listen, you can go over there and get knocked in your head and you can go and take a nap in Tent City right down the street if you live in D.C. If you live in D.C. And this is what the CVS is looking like. CVS, it got a big old heart at the end of the aisle. It's CVS, family. What could they possibly have in there? Everything that you do, everything, everywhere that you turn, there's an opportunity for crime now. When you used to go into and use the ATM as a modern convenience for you to be able to get your hands on some cash, they go in there in the daytime, bust open an ATM, and steal all of the money.
In Adams Morgan, but for older folks, guys who have mobility issues, that's going to be a problem. Tomorrow here in the city, the D.C. Council is going to have its first vote on that Secure D.C. legislation. One part of that legislation would basically crack down on the adults who sometimes organize those thefts, those retail thefts.
There will be no crackdown. But Trump has a solution. Y'all want to know what Trump is suggesting? This is what he's suggesting. He's suggesting that the federal government take over D.C.
Fox 5 at 5 starts with city under siege coverage in the aftermath of the murder of a former top Republican official. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser is rejecting calls to federalize the D.C. Police Department.
Fox 5 Stop for Joe live at the...
Hold on. Give me a second. Give me a second because I missed her the first time, but I'm not going to miss her the second time. Who is this lady? And why are they now forcing all of the lady news anchors to stand up on camera? Harpo, who is this woman? Harpo, who this woman? Give me a second. Let me take it in. Harpo, who is this woman in the gold dress? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on right now. I just want to make sure that we all in the same space. You got that dress in red, Sabrina? I want to see you in it. You like that dress, K. Cooper? Okay, I like it. Harper, who this woman? Just want to make sure that we all on the same page. Okay, let's get back to the story.
Capitol and Fitz, the mayor did not mince words.
I'm all right, Trap.
She did not. The mayor described Mike Gill's death as a tragedy after the married father was gunned down in a carjacking in D.C. But Bowser says any suggestions that crime has gotten so bad in the nation's capital that the federal government should actually take over the police department, in her words, are, quote, disgusting. This comes after the weekend after former House Speaker Newt Gingrich posted online, quote, Mike Gill's death from an attack by a carjacker on 14th Street in downtown Washington while picking up his wife from work is one more example of why Congress needs to take back control of our nation's capital. Bowser tells Fox 5 today she rejects such calls as politically motivated.
This won't be the first time that they try to attack American cities. And I feel like...
Last night, let's stop here for a second. Last night, I told a guy, and I got absolutely destroyed in the chat as a result of it. I didn't know if it was a bunch of single baby mamas that was using a man accounts that was attacking me or whatever. I got absolutely killed in the chat. And I'm cool with that because I like to put on a good show. So sometimes you got to play the bad guy. Sometimes you got to get the chat riled up. Sometimes you want to make sure that you get people engaged. And I'm good at that, right? I've been doing it for a long time. I could take a couple little arrows, pew, pew, here and there. But I told a guy yesterday on the panel on the Q show, and I said, listen, you shouldn't use that language. As men, we're not going to say, I feel like. We only speak in truth, right? We only speak in truth. We don't say, I feel like, when we're substantiating our arguments or we're standing on business. We just get to it and we stand in truth, right? It doesn't matter how you feel, no matter how I feel. Just talk about it. Let's just get to it. Listen, this is what's happening. This is what's going on. So on and so forth. Let's on a fundamental level, let's just agree. And he said, I'm not going to say it the way that you want me to say it. I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. I feel like. And I said, okay. And they said, Anton, you're so mean. You're trying to bully him. Hey, make sure you stand on what you stand on. Don't listen to Anton. Don't give in to him. It's a feminine trait for somebody to speak about an issue, especially one that is important, and saying that I feel. It doesn't matter what you feel. The only thing we care about is the truth. And the truth is a man that is waiting to pick up his wife from work. Obviously, picking up the wife from work is a safety issue, meaning that he's doing the thing that he's supposed to do as a man in order to protect the people that is under him, lost his life in a carjacking, yet she says she rejects it because she feels like. You feel like what? Do you feel like giving this man his life back as a result of protecting? If we can't even protect D.C., if we can't even protect what's right up the street from the Treasury and the White House, what do we have in this country? What do we have in this country? If you feel like, I don't want to know what you feel. We want to see results. We want to see changes. We want to see evolution. We want to see growth. We want to see protection. We want to see our kids being able to grow up in a better environment than we did. But let's go into what she feels like. Let's rewind that for a second.
No motivated.
This won't be the first time that they try to attack American cities. And I feel...
And who is they? That's another thing that I'm trying to understand. Who is they? Where are they at? Where they at, though? Where they at, though? Who is they and where are they? So I can know where to look for them. Because I thought that it was a criminal that did it. But who are they? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get to it. This is why I like to let it play out so we can get the whole gist of what's going on and then we can break it down to make sure that we on top of things. Thanks for that, sis. I'm going to read that shortly.
first time that they tried to attack American cities. And I feel a real bitter taste in my mouth when a person's and a family's tragedy is being exploited for that reason.
But here's the thing. Gingrich is not alone at a campaign event in Las Vegas. Former President Donald Trump said if reelected, he would, quote, take over our horribly run Capitol, unquote. Trump went on to say, quote, we are going to federalize it. We're going to have the toughest law enforcement in the country. Now, some folks here in D.C. today told Fox 5 anything needs to be done. Analysts at the Heritage Foundation say whether or not the mayor likes it, crime in D.C. has become a national issue.
Wait. You telling me that regardless of if you feel some type of way about it, that crime and the statistics and the rate of homicides and carjackings and violent crime is still continuing to go through the roof, regardless of how you feel? What do you mean you feel like? When do we start leaning on a politician's feelings in order to make a better decision for how it is that we protect our citizens inside of this great country, let alone in D.C.? So y'all telling me that I've been missing out on all of the good crime stories because I've been reporting on Chicago and I haven't been focused on what's going on in D.C.? DK says always an issue, D.C. been bad. You telling me D.C. is down bad out here in these streets? You mean I got to write it on the list? Let me write down D.C. D.C. Put it in my notes. D.C., St. Louis, right up there with Chicago. Make sure you pay attention to what's happening in these streets, man. All right. I type the same way that I talk. I want to know what's happening. Y'all telling me that y'all let D.C. fly under the radar because y'all wanted me to continue to focus on Chicago? Your car, I appreciate you. So D.C. been bad. Really? Wow. For years, one conservative chick? D.C. and Maryland? So you telling me it ain't just Baltimore? All right, we gonna get there.
They are bad. So whatever would help the situation, I'm all for it.
I used to joke that I couldn't go to sleep without the sound of gunfire.
Woo, not this old white lady. Wait. We not gonna have our white women, our older white women with white hair. We not going to have them in the hood. Worried about gunfire? Listen, that's a black issue. That's not a white issue. She's my queen to be. We are not going to have our older white women, HWYTE. We not going to have our Golden Girls. Thank you for being a friend. I used to love Golden Girls, by the way. I used to, no. Replace the H. Freddie Myers, replace the H with a Y. I used to love Golden Girls. Have y'all ever watched Golden Girls? It used to come on. It was Married with Children with Al Bundy. Maybe that's why I got my toxicness from. Married with Children, because Al Bundy used to tell the truth. Believe it or not, Al Bundy was a prophet. He was giving us a view into the future. Married with Children. And then it was it Golden Girls that came on after that? And then MASH. MASH came on after that. MASH came on late night. I knew I was up past my bedtime when MASH was on, all right? Golden Girls was listen, that whole lineup, that whole Thursday, Tuesday, and Thursday night lineup was a projection into y'all future. Al Bundy was telling us what men was going to go through. They was showing us how toxic our kids was going to be, that Kelly was going to be for the streets, that Bud was going to be beaten off in his room all day and couldn't get a girl, that their neighbors, Marcy, y'all never watched, y'all don't know nothing about this? that the neighbor's Marcy was going to be a lady boy, but she was going to be pretending to be married to a simp. And she was going to have two different husbands come on the show because she was going to be navigating because she was in feminism, right? And then right after that, they showed y'all what the women was going to be like when they got older and they was going to be buying dogs and dying alone. That's why we love the show so much, because it was a peek into the future. It was a peek into the future, and y'all don't even realize it. God was preparing me to have this conversation with y'all way before y'all ever even knew, before you was a twinkle in your daddy's eye. And we not going to have this golden girl right here sitting here waking up to gunshots because she lives in D.C. and she can't afford to get out. Thank you for being a friend. And Peggy was busting it down for a real one. Real talk in these streets.
We're back there.
Members of Congress have been carjacked. There have also been foreign diplomats who have been
Wait, members of Congress got carjacked too?
robbed and carjacked. There have also been numerous instances of visitors in our nation's capital who have been robbed.
Timing on all of this is key as well. The D.C. Council set to vote this week on a brand new omnibus bill, which supporters say will make an impact on the crime rates in the nation's capital. We're live at the Capitol tonight. We'll send it back into you.
And we're
Listen, guys. Listen. D.C. I'm watching you. D.C. I got my eyes on you. I didn't know y'all was out here being ran by a liberal mayor that had red braids in her hair as a politician because y'all wanted her to be a part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Why y'all ain't telling me that y'all was out here shaking it down busting it down for a real one in D.C.? This what we doing? Okay, all right. Don't worry about it. We just getting started. We just getting warmed up.